This is the story of Spider-Man. This Spider-Man movie was made in 2002. It is the original Spider-Man movie. So today I'm going to tell you about the story of Spider-Man. This is Peter Parker. Peter Parker is the main character of this movie. He is a bit of a nerd.
Tell him to stop, please! Stop! Hey! Stop the bus!
Right? He wears glasses, he's not cool, he's a bit of a nerd. He's quite socially awkward. He's a socially awkward guy. But even though he's a nerd, even though he's a socially awkward guy, he has a crush. He has a crush on Mary Jane.
This, like any story worth telling, is all about a girl. That girl. The girl next door. Mary Jane Watson. The woman I've loved since before I even liked girls.
This is Mary Jane. This is Peter Parker's crush. Now she is drop dead gorgeous. At least Peter Parker thinks that she is drop dead gorgeous. You can see she's very beautiful, very pretty. So Peter Parker in his head believes she is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. He also has a friend. This is Harry. This is one of his best friends. One day, Peter Parker and his friend Harry are looking around the science museum, or the science experiment testing area, and they're looking around, looking at the different kinds of science. There are many animals in cages. There are some spiders in a cage as well. They notice that one of the spiders in the cage is missing. So in this cage here, there's supposed to be 15 spiders, but there are only 14 in the cage. That's because one of the spiders has made a web. You see this? This is a spider web. And so this spider has made a web on the roof of the building. And what happens is the spider drops down onto Peter Parker's hand. And the spider bites Peter Parker. So Peter Parker is bitten by the spider. Then something extraordinary happens. Something absolutely extraordinary happens now. Peter Parker starts changing. You can see Peter Parker checks himself out in the mirror and notices that he is absolutely ripped. He is completely ripped. You see he has strong muscles. Now he has become stronger. So Peter Parker is surprised when he checks himself out in the mirror to see that he is ripped now. Not only that, but Peter Parker has learned or developed a number of skills. He can now climb up walls with his hands, and he can also make spider webs with his wrist here. He shoots spider webs from his wrist. From his wrist. So Peter Parker has become Spider-Man. His uncle tries to share his wisdom with him. One day, they are sitting in the car, and his uncle tries to share his wisdom with Peter Parker. And he tells him the famous quote, "With great power comes great responsibility."
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
This is the famous quote from Spider-Man. Sadly, after he tells Peter Parker this, he is killed. Somebody tries to steal his car, and they kill him. He is killed by a carjacker. That is somebody who steals cars. So a carjacker takes his car and kills Peter Parker's uncle. So Peter Parker vows to stop criminals all over the city because of his uncle's death. He vows that from now on, he's going to use his powers to stop criminals. He makes a vow that is what he's going to do. And then he becomes Spider-Man, and he starts using his new powers to stop criminals all over the city. Meanwhile, Harry's dad, remember this is Harry here, his dad is a scientist, and he is the leader of Oscorp Corporation. But the board of directors in his company decide to sell the business. They decide to sell Oscorp. And Harry's father is absolutely devastated by this because it is his company. So he is absolutely devastated. So he does something quite crazy. He experiments on himself with the science technology they have created, and he drinks a certain chemical, and it turns him into a monster. It turns Harry Osborn's dad into a monster, and he becomes the Green Goblin. He becomes the Green Goblin, and the Green Goblin becomes the villain of the movie. The Green Goblin is the villain. He is Spider-Man's nemesis in this movie. He is Spider-Man's nemesis. And one day the Green Goblin attacks the city, and Spider-Man has to try and stop the Green Goblin, and they clash. Spider-Man and the Green Goblin clash, and they fight it out. They fight it out together in New York.
Impressive!
It's set in New York. They fight it out in New York, but the Green Goblin wins the fight. The Green Goblin later finds out who Spider-Man is. He knows who Spider-Man is, and he kidnaps Mary Jane. So he kidnaps Mary Jane, but Spider-Man comes to the rescue. He comes to the rescue and he saves the day. He comes to the rescue and he saves Mary Jane from the Green Goblin. But we still need to have the final showdown. The final showdown between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. So Green Goblin, even though Spider-Man has already saved Mary Jane, the Green Goblin wants revenge. And so they have their final showdown in the middle of the night. And they fight together, they fight it out. And eventually, Spider-Man wins the fight. And Spider-Man defeats the Green Goblin.
Peter. Don't tell Harry.
Harry, whose dad was the Green Goblin, Harry vows to avenge his father. He makes a vow that he is going to avenge his father. He's going to get revenge on Spider-Man. Because Harry does not know that his father was the Green Goblin. He does not know that Spider-Man was the good guy and the Green Goblin was the bad guy. So he vows to get revenge on Spider-Man. Mary Jane, who still does not know that Peter Parker is actually Spider-Man, Mary Jane declares her love for Peter Parker. She admits that she has feelings for Peter Parker, but Peter Parker cannot accept Mary Jane's love because it would be putting her in danger again if he were to admit his feelings for her. So he walks away from Mary Jane, and he vows that for the rest of his life, he is going to be Spider-Man and fight crime and not have feelings or relationships with women. He's going to focus on fighting crime. Because of course, remember, with great power comes great responsibility. That is the end of this video. I hope you learned some good vocabulary. See you in the next one.